Okay, so here's my issue with performing versus playing the game when it comes to tabletop role-playing games. There are people that will approach the hobby and the game as if it's like a fucking play. And they got to be actors. And they'll come in and overact. And many of them won't be good at it. It'll be cringe. Because the vast majority of people in the hobby are going to be average people that can't act. They're not really going to be good at it. But that's why the game actually doesn't expect you to do that. Actually, roleplay is just an element. It's a part of the game. We're role-playing the game, but the roleplay as far as social interaction and shit like that, it's more casual. It doesn't mean you don't say your guy is saying this really loud, but you don't need to actually yell. Like, you don't need to perform. You don't need to do none of that. That is not an expected thing. You don't even need to be a comedian. Look, you can have funny nights. You can do all that, and the entertainment factor can always kick in. And even average Joe can have a great night and do some impressive stuff. But the game doesn't expect you to do that. The fun part won't be you needing to be a comedian or be entertaining. The fun part, the entertaining part, I guess, will be interacting with the game directly. So, even if you're not smooth, the action in the game, the activities, everything you're doing should just be so focused on by players that they're having a good time through the focus and just interacting. So it doesn't matter if your character falls all over the place, you had a great night, right? And remember, these games are supposed to be about who participates in them, not who watches them. Performing is great for an audience. But in my opinion, it takes you out of the thing I call the flow. Right? I watch Matt Mercer. I'm not going to criticize him as a game master, but when you get to his players, you notice a lot of them are performing. Now they're having fun with it. It's casual. It's all good, but they're actors, right? They're performing, but I think they get away from their imagination and the flow. And I'm only suspect of this because many times I've watched a few live plays from Matt Mercer's group just to see what all the hype was about, of course. And when I start watching something, I examine, I observe, right? So I'll notice little things like consistent players forgetting what scene they're in. Or not even forgetting, just you could tell they have not imagined what they're being told. So it's lost on them. It's completely lost on them. Do I think they run their imaginations here and there, but it's inconsistent. And that inconsistency right away tells me one thing. They're more focused on performing and they're having fun doing that, but they're focused away from the imagination and being in the flow. And the thing for them is, you might be having a better time watching them than other live plays because they're actors. They can do comedy. They can entertain you for real. So I get the appeal. But for them, I guarantee they're having less of a good time. They'd have more of a good time if Matt Mercer turned the cameras off, they stopped performing, and if all of them started playing the game properly and getting into the imagination and getting that type of focus on the game, they'd have a better time. You have a better time watching them while they perform. They have less of a good time, in my opinion, as a theory, with the game than they could have. And I would imagine if you were to talk to any of them, about gaming off camera without the focus on performance being the biggest issue about that night, any night where it's just a focus on the game, and ask them, that night when you were in that flow, how good was that? I guarantee even actors will say, that was awesome, because the truth is, that is the drug of the hobby. Forget all the acting, but actors realize this is a tool, basically a vehicle for them to take their acting to and perform and have fun with it. I get that. But even they'll discover there is a magic about the game that is outside of even what they do, called the flow, the imagination, where it's not about acting in the same sense. It really is more about involving yourself in the actual game activities and seeing it as a game. Like reminding yourself to get into the imagination because you're getting into a character, into a world, and you're playing a game, right? The whole bit of doing drama or acting or anything is all secondary to that part. And the role-play part is only to assist in playing the game. Remember, it's a role-playing game, but at the end, it's still a game. So that means any element tied to it is all about enhancing the game, not taking away from the game. And in my opinion, performance takes away from the game. Right? When you're focused on entertaining other people or how you'll come across, like even in a way, how worried about how you come across to the other players and the game master. When you worry about that stuff, that's dumb. Because in reality, in a good game, in a good gaming environment, everybody should be casual. To the point where nobody is trying to... There's not even an attempt to show each other up, because it's not a skill you really need to have to play the game. You don't need to be an actor. You don't need to do special voices. Right? That's why I say about special voices and all that. It's good when you're talented and you can bring something to the hobby, but the effects of your voice outside of being entertaining just disappear after a session. And a player who's not doing special voices but describing their tone, putting some effort in through that area, basically giving the other player's imagination, what you'll find is that player plays as well with the other player's imagination as you do making a special, unique voice. Right? Because the imagination is so powerful, it will overcome your talent. Meaning, it's impressive that first night, but it's like after that, it's like, okay, he does the Irish accent or whatever. Cool, right? But you play with this other guy and, man, he never does voices, but you always buy his character. You love playing with him. Because the guy who does special voices actually isn't a better player. He might be better at entertainment and acting, but that's for drama class, not for a tabletop role-playing game. You don't score points here because you're great at acting. That's not what the game is about. The game is being good at playing a game. It's not even really about that. It is enjoying the game. You know, I'll tell people the game is not all about fun. They'll get confused by what I mean by that. The game is about fun in a sense, but what I mean when I say it's not about fun sometimes, the game can be challenging, and it's a game. So it's in a way, it's not meant to be fun all the time when you're failing. Like, there's meant to be a failing aspect. That's what makes it a game, right? You got to be okay with failing, which could be character death, whatever ultimate failure is. Right? So failure is an important part, and it doesn't always feel fun. And failing, like just through dice rolls, falling on your face, those parts aren't going to be fun. Some nights for that bit of time, it could just be rough and unfun, period, right? But on the other side of that, you're back to your fun. But you got to remember, why is that part okay to happen? Why is it okay to have a stretch where it's no good, but the game isn't broken? The game master is not doing anything wrong. It's because it's a game, right? It's meant to challenge you, and there can be times when you're not doing well, right? So it's okay. It's okay it sucks to lose your character, but it's a game, right? The aspect of the competition in the game is you're competing to get better and avoid failure, which is like character death, right? Now, what I'm saying does not help anybody doing a live play, because in all honesty, I think the best experience we can have will never appeal to an onlooking audience. So it's not something you take to the live play, but what I would suggest to the live play people is don't think what you're doing is actually the way you're meant to play the game. I really don't believe it is, because it's unrealistic to expect the majority of people to be able to perform like actors. Since that's not a realistic expectation, you would assume all these games are not expecting that level of acting or role play from players that are just average fucking everyday people. It's not going to have that expectation. Acting or doing the character stuff or talking in character is a way more casual thing. You do it, you put a little effort into it, but you don't go at it like you're an actor, because there's no expectation that you have to be an actor. In a way, I would even prefer the actor to not bring acting. It's going to sound weird to an actor, but I'm like, just don't take it serious as if you're taking up a role in a play. Like, I want you to have a normal player's experience, which is, don't look at what we're doing as a play. Don't take your character as a character you're taking as an acting role. And just think of what you're doing as a game. Like, and not like a video game, but sort of have that view of it, and then go at it like it's a game. Like, the game element and getting your character ahead is more important than just character development. Doesn't mean that stuff isn't important. And even I can appreciate all that side of the game, the part that role-playing does bring in. But again, it's more casual, and the focus should be more on the game. I guarantee if you get into your imagination, the flow, a consistent gameplay where that's not really You're not talking about the gas station shit. You're not focused on the other stuff. You're just in it, and you don't take all the acting or the role play stuff so serious. Turn the cameras off and just play, where you're all more focused on getting a hit as a group, getting a hit in the game, and really the game elements you start appreciating. Because I've seen some live plays where the game part seems to annoy some players. Like, it gets in the way of their wanting to perform. And I'm like, yeah, then you're in the wrong hobby, right? Now you just want to do a play, right? And I just noticed so many people just not having a real experience. So I'm like, turn the performing off, do what a normal player does, and play the game. And there's no game out there that doesn't expect that. Like, every game out there isn't expecting actors. Even the vampire games, as deep as they can be, I mean, you can still tell at least the designer appreciates the fact that, look, it is still everyday people that have to play the game. People that work a fucking job, right? It's going to be very few people that are going to be fucking deep in on acting and everything else. That's why even the vampire game, as much lore as there is sort of like a quick in. There's a lot of stuff you can skip and still play the game. Why would they make it that way? It's because they understand not everyone has all that time. So even the elements where they push a lot in, they know there's only a few people in the entire thing that might care about that. They always hope it's the storyteller so they can feed information to players that don't do all the reading. And that's a good way to share the lore and get people updated on it. That's a great way. I always thought Vampire was pretty clever on that whole thing. Don't push it on all your players. Maybe the storyteller is someone who feeds a lot of this deeper lore because they're going to make more time or have more time for such things, right? Yeah, but you still don't see the expectations of deep acting. It doesn't mean people don't try it with that, but I still think no matter what system you're playing, when you bring performing into it, you get away from the imagination, you get away from the flow, you get away from the drug. You get away from the thing that will keep people in the hobby for like the next 50 years. Right? It's like, and I promise actors that are just doing these live plays, if you get burnt out or something, you might leave and never come back. And you'd be like, well, yeah, that can happen. But I'm like, that tells me that you haven't tried the drug yet. Like the real thing, the real high of the peak experience. Because I would promise the actor, if you touch the peak experience, you won't just walk away. That's the thing that hooks everyone. Even the normies, even the tourists. If you touch it, well, okay, I'll see you. You'll be around. I'll be seeing you. You might not be here as consistent as some nerds, but you'll be here. Right? You'll be here. Okay, I love you, at least most of you. For now, take care.